Hello, my name is Michael Nunneley, and welcome to another episode of The Art of Making Comics. Today I want to talk a little bit about pricing as we get into actually getting ready to get out into conventions and stuff. You gotta get your price down, and you gotta get it down right before you go out there. There's the thing of if you price too low, then people are going to think that your product isn't worth much. If you price it too high, people are going to think you're full of yourself, and then they're going to think it's too much. You want to get right in there in the middle somewhere. And the reason it's important to get this done before you head out to these conventions is because when you go out to these conventions, you're making a name for yourself, for your business. And you don't want to have the reputation of somebody whose prices are always fluctuating like that. That's not going to be good for trying to get collectors to buy your books, and it's going to make readers mostly just buy the digital books, and there's not a lot of money in that. So I want to talk a little bit about how I personally went to how I decided to do my pricing. I talked to several people that have their own businesses and have degrees in business, and there's actually a bare minimum formula that people use as a baseline for pricing things, and this is the standard across America. The standard is that you take how much it costs to print a book, how much it costs to actually get it made and print it. You times that by 1.66, and what that does is it gives you your cost plus about 2/3. I personally go up to about 1.69, 1.7 sometimes. But it's always right around in that area. Now, a lot of businesses, a lot of them, do a lot more than that. They will do 2 times 3 sometimes, depending on the product and the place you're buying it at. So, I mean, I'm not trying to say this is a hard, fast rule, but this is how I've decided to do it, because I want to get my books out there in a way that, one, helps me be able to keep making books, and 2, covers my costs. And that's what I'm going for, but I want to do it at the cheapest possible means. I don't want to. A lot of independent creators will charge a lot for their books, and I just don't think that you're going to get a lot of readers if you charge too much for your books. I found that in order to recover all my costs, like the actual making of the comic, paying the artist and the letterer and all that, that has to be done accumulatively through the sale of all of them. So I took the baseline. Say it cost me about $4.17 to print a book on average. I would times that by 1.69, which is the formula that I use, and I ended up with around 704. Now, what I want to do when I'm pricing it is I want to get them to the nearest like 50 cents mark, because people like to pay there are more sales done at 49 cents and 99 cents than any other denomination, just statistically. And so that's what I've chosen to go with in the comics. So if I get it at 1.69, it comes out to 7.04. I know that I can drop a few cents off of that and make it $6.99 and still be okay, because I'm going over the baseline of what the standard is anyway, which is 1.66. I'm going up to 1.69, so I can afford a little bit of leeway in the pricing there. That's, like I said, that's just what I've chosen to do. That allows me to cover the printing costs. And like, say I print 200 of them, it usually leaves me, 70 or 80 comics of after the cost of printing them is recovered, to put towards profit. And by profit, I mean it goes into making my next book. Now, one of the ways this works for me is because I have several titles out. Like right now, I just put out my 5th comic, and that helps me to accumulate the amount it takes to make the 6th comic. Because if I sell the 200 of all 5 of those comics, then the profit after the cost to reprint them again is recuperated, then goes directly into making the next comic. It's usually somewhere around, I want to say like $500-600 over the next one. The average comic for me costs somewhere around, I want to say about 2,000, 2,300 maybe. And so I'm able to accumulate through the sale of posters and the 5 comics. I'm able to accumulate enough to make another comic, as well as reprint the ones I sold to make that other comic. And that allows me to be self-sustaining. I hope that made sense. I tend to rattle a little bit. I hope that was not too confusing. Tell me if it did make sense. Help me to make these videos a little better. Let me know if that helped you out. And if it did, then good stuff. If it didn't, if you have more questions and stuff, feel free to ask in the comments, and I'll be happy to answer them for you. You guys have a good one, man. Live long and prosper.